The tragic death of Pontius Pilate. Pontius Pilate was the Roman governor of Judea from 26 to 36 AD. His administration was marked by tensions between the Romans and the Jewish population, which yearned for autonomy and faced oppression. Pilate, amidst these complexities, found himself in a delicate position when dealing with religious leaders and the rising figure of Jesus of Nazareth. Before proceeding, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to receive notifications of more surprising videos. As governor, Pilate had to navigate a minefield of expectations and conflicts. He was responsible for maintaining order and collecting taxes, while also needing to manage the complex dynamics among the various factions within Jewish society. Religious leaders, in particular, wielded significant influence over the people, and Pilate often found himself in a precarious position when interacting with these figures. In this scenario, the figure of Jesus began to gain prominence. His teachings and increasing popularity posed a threat not only to the religious leaders, but also to Roman authority itself. Jesus challenged social and religious norms, preaching a message of love and compassion that resonated deeply with the masses. This concerned Pilate, as any unrest could lead to riots, jeopardizing his position and safety. Pilate, in dealing with the growing tension between the population and Roman authorities, sought a balance. On one hand, he wanted to maintain peace and order in his jurisdiction. On the other, he recognized that his decisions could have repercussions for his career and status in Rome. The situation became even more complicated with the condemnation of Jesus, which culminated in the famous crucifixion. Pilate's decision, often seen as an act of concession to the pressures from religious leaders and the crowd, reflected his moral and political dilemma. The legacy of Pontius Pilate is complex. He is often remembered as an ambiguous figure, someone who tried to avoid conflict but ended up embroiled in an event that would change history. His administration in Judea symbolizes the challenges faced by a ruler in a turbulent territory and the difficult line between authority and morality. The condemnation and crucifixion of Jesus represented a turning point in Pilate's life. Pressured by religious leaders and the crowd, he found himself compelled to make a decision that, in his mind, could maintain peace in Judea. However, this choice was accompanied by a strong sense of ambivalence. The famous phrase, "I wash my hands," symbolizes his attempt to dissociate himself from responsibility, but ultimately his conscience could not be silenced. After the crucifixion, Pilate faced growing discontent in Judea. The unrest was not limited to those who followed Jesus. There was widespread dissatisfaction with Roman occupation. Political tensions rose, and Pilate, now seen by many as a symbol of oppression, struggled to maintain his position. Pilate's administration became increasingly controversial. His decisions, such as the construction of an aqueduct using funds from the temple, sparked revolts. This not only damaged his image, but also eroded the populace's trust. The pressure mounted, and the situation became unsustainable. In 36 AD, Pilate was called back to Rome, where he faced a trial for his governance. Tradition suggests he was deposed, which culminated in a state of despair and alienation. The figure who once held power and authority now found himself at the mercy of contempt and criticism. Accounts of Pilate's final fate vary and are often imprecise. Some suggest that he lived his last years in exile, consumed by guilt and regret. Others speak of a tragic end, where he, unable to cope with the pressure and the consequences of his actions, chose death. One version suggests that Pilate was exiled after his removal from the governorship. This narrative presents Pilate as a man who, far from power, underwent a period of deep reflection. The exile symbolizes not only the loss of his position, but also the opportunity to reconsider his actions and their implications. In this scenario, Pilate could have lived his final years in introspection, grappling with the weight of guilt. This image leads us to ponder human nature and the capacity for self-assessment, even in the face of past mistakes. Exile can be seen as a form of punishment, but also as a chance for personal growth and the pursuit of understanding. Another, more dramatic narrative suggests that Pilate chose to end his own life, unable to bear the pressure and guilt associated with his decisions. This interpretation resonates with themes of tragedy, where the protagonist finds himself surrounded by his failures and the consequences of his actions. The idea that he succumbed to despair reflects an intense internal struggle. This version of the story serves to illustrate the moral dilemmas faced by leaders in difficult situations, emphasizing that pressure can lead to extreme decisions. The fate of Pontius Pilate is symbolic and represents the struggle between power, responsibility, and morality. His story invites reflection on the repercussions of the choices made by those in positions of authority. Even figures of great power are not immune to the consequences of their actions, and his journey serves as a reminder of the fragility of the human condition. The ambiguity of his final fate also reflects the complexities of human nature. The different narratives about Pilate, whether as a man seeking redemption or as a tragic figure, help explore themes of guilt, regret, and the search for meaning amidst chaos. In summary, the final fate of Pontius Pilate, surrounded by uncertainties and various interpretations, offers a rich opportunity to reflect on morality and the consequences of human decisions. Whether living in exile, pondering his choices, or facing a tragic end, Pilate's life remains an engaging story that resonates with universal questions about responsibility and the struggle for integrity. This narrative reflects a complex emotional state. Pilate's internal struggle symbolizes the human dilemma between maintaining power and moral integrity. His story is a reflection on how decisions can reverberate over time, affecting not just the individual, but also an entire community. The tragic death of Pontius Pilate serves as an important lesson about the responsibility of human choices. His story illustrates how leaders often navigate complex landscapes filled with pressure and competing expectations, where every decision carries significant weight. In Pilate's case, he faced the immense challenge of balancing Roman authority with the demands of the local Jewish population and its religious leaders. This tension between duty and ethics is not unique to Pilate. It resonates deeply in contemporary society. Today, individuals in positions of power, whether in politics, business, or other realms, frequently encounter situations that force them to choose between following orders, maintaining the status quo, and upholding their moral principles. The dilemmas they face can often be fraught with the potential for public backlash or personal risk. Consider, for example, modern political leaders who must make decisions that impact countless lives. They may feel pressured to align with party lines or popular opinion, even when it conflicts with their personal beliefs or ethical standards. This struggle can lead to a profound sense of internal conflict, much like what Pilate experienced. The desire to avoid conflict and maintain order can result in compromising one's values, which may lead to long-lasting regret or repercussions. Moreover, Pilate's choice to wash his hands of responsibility reflects a common human tendency to seek absolution from difficult decisions. In our own lives, we often find ways to distance ourselves from the consequences of our actions, whether through rationalization or by shifting blame onto others. This avoidance can be tempting, but it ultimately undermines our accountability. The legacy of Pilate's choices serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of inaction or moral compromise. It reminds us that true leadership requires courage, not only to make tough decisions, but also to stand by them and accept their outcomes. This lesson is particularly relevant in an era where accountability is increasingly demanded from those in power. As we reflect on Pilate's tragic end, we are urged to consider how our choices, especially when faced with pressure, can shape not only our own lives, but also the lives of others. Each decision we make contributes to the broader tapestry of society, reinforcing the idea that individual responsibility is crucial for the greater good. The challenge lies in navigating the often murky waters of ethics while remaining true to our principles, even when faced with immense pressure. In essence, the story of Pontius Pilate serves as a profound reminder of the complexities of human decision-making. It invites us to engage in ongoing self-reflection about our values and the courage it takes to uphold them in the face of adversity. Ultimately, our choices define us, and the legacy we leave behind is shaped by how we respond to the challenges we encounter. His story invites us to reflect on the importance of compassion and justice, and how, ultimately, our actions have lasting consequences. The pursuit of a balance between duty and morality is a constant challenge, and Pilate, in his tragedy, reminds us of the need to face our responsibilities with courage.